Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be going through all things tournament support, the work, how you get it and what it's like when you're there. This particular tournament we have the high-low tennis tournament in Berlin for the Open, but previously I've done things such as the DP World Tour for the Sudal Open, for example, and various other events and tournaments, so there's a bit of experience there. But we're going to go through all the process, how to sign up, how to find them, what you do when you're here, sort of shift patterns and the actual preparation of the courts in this particular event, so I'm looking forward to showing you more. So as with lots of these tournaments, it's typically a split shift situation, so we are doing 6 till 9ish in the morning, and then you get the daytime to do as you please, so you can watch the tennis, watch the golf, dependent on where you are or what you're working on. And then in the afternoon we'll come back in roughly around 4 o'clock ish. Then we'd prepare the practice courts ready for the play the following day, and then we'd come back up to the stadium and the match courts, mow those ready for the next morning, just because of time wise. Typically you normally mow on the day of or the morning of, so to speak, but it just depends on the tournament and the situations. And here we've got some storms sort of on the horizon, so it's been a lot of heat and then some rain with it, and then on off and overcast, and not really able to tell when the rain's going to be coming. So it's been covers on every night situation. It's a matter of getting the work done when possible, but so far so good, and hopefully the weather keeps up. And yeah, we're looking forward to the rest of the tournament. Yesterday was the first day, it was really good. I just wanted to get an idea of what the event was like before I started to capture some footage, so you'll start to see some more through the rest of this video. An important note to mention, actually, I'm out here with Engelmann Turf, Christian specifically, the guy who runs it, looks after everything, but Alex Earl has been the one that's got me out here. Some of you might know Alex from previously at Wimbledon, but also now he's out here in Germany. So there's lots of these opportunities about, it's just mainly about finding them, to be honest. Sometimes they're not advertised. The best way to go about it is to have a search online and figure out what tournaments you'd like to work at, and then once you know the locations, you can go onto LinkedIn, or you can ask your friends or peers in the industry and say, do you know anyone at such and such course, or such and such tennis or cricket, or whatever sport you're trying to work at or work within. And then once you've done that, obviously then you can have direct contact with them. Once you've got direct contact, you can start to arrange things. It might be a case of they've already got next year's team already. It might be a case of maybe they don't advertise and they just get in who they get in. So there's always lots of options, and even if one course or one place doesn't have you for a tournament, there's more than likely going to be something else available. Now, what really is frustrating, what I normally find, is a lot of the tournaments and stuff tend to be around the same dates, so sort of May to July tends to be quite chaotic. So you might have to choose 2 or 3 dependent on your work schedule as well, because I can appreciate that some people on the position I'm in where I can just take the time and go. You might need to take annual leave. Some places will offer a week of training, for example, and allow you to do that. So it really can vary sort of workplace to workplace, and that's obviously something you have to consider for your own part before applying for these tournaments. Go and speak to your managers, get some information on if you're allowed to do it, if you can get the time paid to go as well is really important. That will help massively, because obviously you get your accommodation, food and everything. Some of the tournaments are paid, some aren't. That's something else to think about. You know, some are voluntary, but you typically tend to get a lot more stuff with those sort of things, with your food, with your uniforms, sometimes gift vouchers and stuff to go and spend in shops. Obviously paid ones are a little bit different, but then you have to set up companies and you might have to look at working visas and those sort of things. So it's worth just pointing that out at this stage. But there are options out there, and it's just a matter of going and finding them. On the first day when I arrived, a lot of the work had already been done because I arrived at sort of 10 o'clock. So for example, we work 6 a.m. in the morning until around 9, and during that time we are preparing the stadium and the match pitches, so centre court and the 2 outside match pitches. This includes mowing, line marking, scrubbing out any sort of lines that have been transferred by the mower on the roller and ghosted up the pitch. So this is when the mower picks up line marking paint from the lines that are existing and transfers it elsewhere, typically a bit further up the line. And then we would just have a final check. We're not installing nets, so that's done by the cover team, which takes it off before we get there and covers every night as well. And then we would leaf blow, so the bases as well, to ensure that there's no debris, it's not getting watered in, it's not getting pressed in, which will make the baselines and the areas behind the baselines as strong as possible for the tournament. Now in the evenings is a little bit different. We go to the practice courts down at the Olympia. There we mow with a triplex rather than a hand mower, and then we line mark and string again there. So we don't cover, that's done by the cover team. So they take them off and they put them on in the evening as well. So they put them on after we finish our work, about half an hour afterwards, so the paint dries a little bit on the lines. And then in the morning they would take them off prior to us getting there under our instructions. Same with the nets, that's also done by the cover team. They would put the nets in, the umpire stand, any sort of signage that went pitch side. So it's a pretty straightforward process really, and as the tournament goes on it actually becomes less and less because you have less players, so the timings become a lot more relaxed. You know, you start the first day, the first match might be 9 o'clock. By the time you get to the finals day, for example here, it's 2:30 for the final. So you have a lot of time in the morning to prepare, and same in the evenings for the practice courts. Over the course of the week, players get knocked out of the competition, so you'll end up towards the end of the week with a Friday or Saturday where there might not actually be any players to practice on the Saturday, for example. So the courts won't need to be prepared. Sunday is almost a definite that they'll only be playing on the Sunday, or they'll be practicing on one of the main pitches or one of the match courts up at the stadium. So it's unlikely that they'd use the training pitches because they're off-site, so you have to travel between the two. So that pretty much gives you a rundown on the process, what we've done, visually being able to see what goes on and how we do it. So if you do have any information or are interested in coming over specifically to Germany for any of these tournaments that have gone on over the past few weeks, so the Boss Opens, this one in Berlin. The company which is looking after the courts is Engelmann, and we have a really good relationship with them, so we'd like more of our members to get in contact and go over and see it. I plan on doing it year after year now, really enjoyed it, and it's really welcoming and a really good experience, so it's highly recommended by me. So thanks for watching. Please let us know in the comments, or as I say, send us a message if you have any information requests. Like, subscribe and all those great things, it really helps, and look forward to the next video. There was a smile. Action.
That's good. Just keep pouring, Alex. Keep pouring, keep pouring, keep pouring. Oh.
Go, 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 go.
Is the camera on, Bradley? Okay, I'm dancing.